It's been about 18 months since ChatGPT 3.5 became widely available. And since then, many of us have been experimenting with it. We've been learning how to use it and what it can do for us. What do you see in your role at your work? What do you see the main lessons learned so far among enterprises?
Um, Great question. Main lessons. Well, I guess that running too fast certainly allows you to get egg on your face.
Mm,
And I think we've seen some great examples of not what to do with both sides of the pond, actually, both here in the US and, of course, back home in the UK. And so that's kind of number one. We are in we've historically been in a land of guarantees as it comes to the world of automation. Like we used to say, a bot will never get it wrong, right?
mm,
It can only do what you tell it to do, and that was both in conversational and in repetitive keyboard type actions. We no longer have that type of assurance with Gen AI, and I think most organizations have had to now change the way that they think about automations in the future as a result of generative AI, which is both great because we now have an ability to do different things and automate different things, and also a worry because now we no longer have the security of a guarantee. We have a direction and a fingers crossed that the decided output aligns to ethical principles and other things that we put in place. So I think that's the key thing really is that there's a lot of hype, there is a lot of potential, there is clearly a lot more risk here than we've seen in other forms of both AI and automation. And guess what? Even if you haven't started today, you're not going out of business tomorrow. And I think that's probably one of the key things, right? You don't have to sprint. This is a marathon. And let's get it right versus get it in fast.
mhm, mhm. Well said. Well said. And there is a shortage of skills, isn't there, generally for AI anyway, and then generative AI, perhaps even more. And I've seen stats where surveys have come up with results where employees are saying, we'd love to use generative AI, but nobody's training us. What's your take on that?
So AI skills have obviously been lacking, let's say, compared to demand. I don't think that's necessarily changed as a result of Gen AI. I think the one thing I would say is that actually being trained to use Gen AI is quite different to be trained to create tools and infrastructure. And so I would suggest that there is already excellent content out there to help people make use of generative AI in their day-to-day work. In fact, I've helped a number of clients with training programs and training packages, and there's just so much out there already.
Mm,
So if you have employees who are interested in utilizing the technology, don't think that you have to create training from scratch, because there's a lot of organizations, a lot of the big hyperscalers, in fact, have got free training courses. um, and so if you want to create something yourself, great. If not, then there is plenty out there. Now, this is for use of Gen AI. Of course, if you are planning on building Gen AI, experimenting with different models, changing weights, and all of this, look, that is a very in-demand skill. There's a lot of organizations that I'm working with who are building that predominantly from an IT perspective. And as well as a rise in the number of startups that are kind of in that space as well, who hopefully have done a lot of the technical things.
mhm.
And so you are more fine tuning outputs as opposed to building security and infrastructure and compute and all of those things. Because I think there is an opportunity to build a lot of this yourself. I'm not entirely sure whether at the moment it is worth the significant investment for a lot of organizations to do that, because it feels like you are building a platform, but you don't know what your destination is. So you don't know whether you need a boat, a plane, a car, or a train. So why are you building a vehicle now when you're not entirely sure what the mode of transport is? And so I think we're in this really interesting place that we are going somewhere, not necessarily sure where, or what is the terrain that we are going to be conversing over. Um, but yeah, I mean, training. Going back to the training question, it's you don't need to be on this journey alone because there is so much great content out there.
Mm.
But I do truly advocate that if you have any ambition of allowing your employees to use Gen AI, you at least have to teach them the very basics, not just how to use the tool. The most important thing really are the potential risks, and how and what they can do to try and mitigate those risks, so they're not creating a PR disaster for you or your business.